So actively participate in the session by either participating in the tasks digitally, online, or by writing and taking notes to keep your brain engaged while you're hearing streams of information. Fantastic to have you here. And hi there, Sasan. Fantastic to have you here. Now, you'll find that if we let ourselves, we'll find that we've got students from all over the world in this class tonight. And we're streaming on, I believe we're streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Hi, Ikra. Just write, what you might do is while we're setting up, just for the first 2 minutes or so, is write where you are in the world. Hi, Ketan. Hi, Nini. Fantastic. Just write, and you'll be fascinated to know where your peers are, where your student buddies are. No sound. You should be able to hear sound. Liam, let's just check that before we begin. Can you hear and can you see me? Writing where you are in the chat box. Write yes if you can hear and see from Islamabad. Clear sound. Okay, so if your audio is not working, check you've got your own audio setting. Yep, clear and ready to go. So welcome. We've got a great number here. We'll get started. Beautiful. Lovely to see you. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and we're streaming on Zoom as well for our regular members. So fantastic, guys. Write where you are in the chat box, and you'll be interested to know the language backgrounds of your peers or your study buddies. And everybody's aiming towards learning English, getting good at it, and getting the grade in the PTE test, or learning the communication skills, vocabulary, grammar, and test skills to do well on test day. Fantastic. Bilal is from Pakistan but living in Stockholm, and that's the amazing way the world works now. We've got Dutch Pakistani. Fantastic. And how many languages are you speaking? So everybody in the room is likely to be speaking at least 2 languages, and one of them will be English. So we're going to use the chat box as you are, beautiful, as you are, in the by writing to each other in the chat box, but also responding to the prompts as well. Now, one thing before we begin, if you are brand new member to E2 Language and you want to take advantage of the Express Package discount, just hold your phone up or your camera up to the QR code on the screen, and you'll find it goes directly to log into either a free package, or you can sign up to get 30% off the Express package, so that you've got access into the system so that you can attend the live classes, practice tests, and also view the recorded classes as well. If that's of interest to you, use your camera, scan it. If it's not, have a look at it, and then you can leave it, exit it from that from QR coding as well. Nice one. Now, what's interesting in the chat box is we've got people living in part of the world, from one part of the world, but living in another. And we're really interested in that. That's what English language gives us access to do. That's what the PTE will give you access to do, which is to live in New Zealand and be from Argentina. Pass the test so that you can get your permanent residency in New Zealand, and also continue to study as well. So study and work elsewhere outside of your home country with English proficiency to enable you to do that. Excellent. Okay, Nini. Nini's keen to get going. Here we go. We're going to practice each part of the speaking test, and we're going to briefly look at answers and scoring. Beautiful, Sebastian. And we're going to take around about an hour, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on methods. I've included them because I realize some people can't leap in to do the tasks. So I'm going to explain a little bit about the methods, some methods, as we go through. Now, there's an overview of the speaking test. You might like to take a screenshot of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tasks. Read aloud, repeat sentence, describe image, retell lecture, and answer short question. And if you look at that, there's a number of each of those tasks in the test, but there are only 5 major tasks. But there'll be a number of each of those tasks, and they're all timed. So the questions are individually timed and will move on in the test without you having to do anything, but you must complete each of the tasks in the allotted time. Yep. Cool. Arajan, you should be able to hear. Everybody else is hearing. Just check your audio on your side, Arajan. Grab your phone to record it if you can. And I'm just reminding you that you can take a PTE mini mock test. Cool. A PTE mini mock test at any stage, which is the whole test in a short space of time, to get feedback from a professional marker who will give you individual feedback on and commentary on your response, as well as give you an evaluation of an indicative score of what you might get on test day. Totally valuable towards as you approach test day. Excellent. Now, read aloud is a task where you can score very well in. And here's our method. Use your voice to practice during the practice time. So read out the difficult words to form the sounds. And then when the recording starts, speak at a moderate pace. Read the phrases. So join articles, adjectives, and nouns together. Pause at the comma, stop at the full stop, and have a breath that's going to go from the start of the sentence to the end of the sentence. Make meaning of what you read. Fluency means don't hesitate, or don't correct yourself or go back, and don't leave words out or read too quickly. Okay, are you ready? So you've got 35 seconds to prepare for this. And then once the clock starts, start reading aloud on your side as clearly as possible. Here we go. 35 seconds to prepare. Time starts now. Okay, now get ready to read aloud from 1870 to 1970. Right. Now, you'll always have plenty of time to do these. Do plenty of practice of read alouds because you're going to get good at it. Let's look at the words that are emphasized, the content words, the nouns, the verbs, main verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Listen to a model read aloud.
From 1870 to 1970, the percent of American workers based on farms fell by 90%, and then again from 1950 to 2010, the percent of Americans working in factories fell by 75%. The challenge we face this time, however, is one of time. We had 100 years to move from farms to factories.
Okay, we made meaningful sense of the text for our listener. All righty, now the scoring, of course, content, did you get all the words in? Oral fluency, you didn't hesitate or pause or repeat yourself. And pronunciation, you've got the sounds crystal clear. Perfect, we're going to do another one. 40 seconds to read through, and then 40 seconds to read out loud as clearly as you can. Here we go. Ready to speak out loud. Here we go. Okay, and the task will move on. Now, hopefully you made sense. I'm going to read it out loud. Here we go. So reading along with me. Adjectives, nouns, adverbs, and verbs. Pausing at the comma, stopping at the full stop. Chinese workers are not forced into factories because of our insatiable desire for iPods. They choose to leave their homes in order to earn money, to learn new skills, and to see the world. In the ongoing debate about globalization, what's been missing is the voices of the workers themselves. All right. Now you're going to make sense for your reader, for your listener, as you writing will make sense for your reader. Content, fluency, keep going forward. Pronunciation, every sound sounds like it would if you'd been speaking English all your life, but you're going to practice and get good at. Wow, that's read alouds. Do lots of practice of those. Now, this one is, of course, repeat sentence. We're challenged by what do I remember? Do I remember every word? No. Remember phrases. So remember, there might be 2 to 3 parts of the sentence. Listen, perhaps close your eyes, listen to understand, and then repeat. So focus, be ready for it, for listening, listen to the sentence parts, understand what was said, and then repeat. Here's the first one. Are you ready? Repeat it exactly as you hear it.
You'll need to do some research on the topic before Monday.
Okay, now, if you didn't understand it, you're going to say what you think he said. This is what he said.
You'll need to do some research on the topic before Monday.
Beautiful. Did we make sense of it? Okay, practice this one. Again, close our eyes, listen, focus, listen, and repeat. Here we go.
Finance leaders have many challenging issues to deal with these days.
Okay, here we go. This is what she said. She said,
Finance leaders have many challenging issues to deal with these days.
great. Hopefully we made sense. Now we're going to get very good at listening, understanding, and repeating. It's a skill. Here we go. Here's the third one.
We now get the majority of our news from our social media feeds.
Get it? Did we make sense? This is what he said.
We now get the majority of our news from our social media feeds.
Okay. And if we look there, we see the content words. There's our subject, there's our verb, then we've got the majority of our news from our social media feed. So that was easy because the adjectives and the nouns are joined together, and we're going to listen for the groupings as we do in read aloud, and then join them together to create meaning. All right, content, fluency, and pronunciation. Ta-da. Give yourself a score out of 39. Now, just guess, if each one was worth 13 and you got, and there are 3 of them, did you give yourself 10 for each one? Just take a note of the score because you want to work out what are you listening to yourself to judge? And it might be your pronunciation, it might be your fluency or your ability to understand the content, in which case it's vocabulary. And then we're going to go and target those areas and get better at it. Good work. Don't necessarily, Pachu, good question. Where do you focus? You're focused on the meaning of the sentence. The sentence will make sense, meaning it will have meaning to it, and it will have a subject, a verb, and the rest of the sentence. It won't be very long, and it will create meaning. So what you're working out is, what did he just say? What did she just say? What was the subject, verb, and rest of sentence? So hopefully that's clear, because then you can practice listening. Yep, by pressing play on an audio on a podcast and pressing stop and repeating exactly what they just said, and then practicing understanding, practicing listening comprehension. You'll get good at it. Yep, hopefully that's helpful, Pachu. Now, we're going to look at one of the hardest. There are 2 difficult ones in speaking. We know they are describe image, don't we? And we know they're retell lecture. Describe image literally means describe, this is the toughest one. Describe the image in front of you. Now, the image might be a line graph, it might be a bar chart or a pie chart, it might be multiple graphs, it might be a picture, it might be a table, but we're going to treat it as visual information with data, with words and numbers in it, that we're going to translate into words using in a structured way. Now, everybody who takes the PTE test must learn to use a structure, or we end up not being able to repeat what it is that we did well once we've done it. So to do well, follow the structure and put into the structure key ideas. And we're going to work out how to do that. So we're going to look at the title and x-axis, which is the title of the image. In this case, cumulative, meaning collected podcasts listed on iTunes in America from June 2007 to June 2015. So that's the title, like the title of a book or the title of a chapter. The x-axis is along the bottom horizontally, and it tells us from, we've already said it, from 2007 to 2015. It's already included in the title, so we didn't need to add that, but we're aware that that's the time that has been researched in this particular graph, which represents data over the time period. We're going to look for the lowest point, the highest point, and one other, which might be the trend. Now, this is the same for all graphs and images, a low point, a high point, and one other, because that's what the algorithm asks, is us to explain the range of data. So we'll explain the low, the high, and the trend across those peaks, across that data. So title x-axis, 3 key features, and then a conclusion. And the conclusion will be a summary, a prediction, or a reason why this might be, which you might be able to work out, a summary of the reason, a summary which is like this is what happened, and a prediction is what might happen next. You won't know your conclusion until you've stated the middle section of the graph, which means you've isolated the data so your brain can process what the image is about while you're speaking. Now you've got 25 seconds to prepare and then 40 seconds to deliver that information using the framework. Yep, and the framework is title, x-axis, 3 key features, and conclusion. Speak clearly at a moderate pace. It could be any one of these graph types that you can practice off the E2 language platform, so you become familiar with applying the structure to any of those images. Keep speaking, don't stop or hesitate. Don't get complicated, just keep the fluency happening. And there'll be a couple of these in the test. Are you ready? Title, if there isn't one, give it one. X-axis, if there isn't one, then mention some more data. That's introduction. Then low point, high point, and then one other, and then a conclusion. Alrighty, 25 seconds to prepare. Enjoy putting it together. Time starts now. Okay, we'll have a look at a model answer in a moment. I know you made sense of that. It's an interesting image, isn't it? We're going to do another one, and we'll look at a model answer in a moment. Title, x-axis, low point, high point, one other, and conclusion, prediction, reason, or summary. Here we go. 25 seconds to prepare. Beautiful. Okay, we'll see an answer in a moment. Don't despair. We're going to do another one. We're going to get very good at it. We're going to have 3 sections: introduction, midsection, and conclusion, all in 40 seconds. This time we've got data in a table. So we've got a title, a little bit more information, lowest point, highest point, one other, and then a prediction, a reason, or a summary. Alrighty, 25 seconds to prepare for that. Time starts now. Right. Now that's very interesting data, and it's very interesting that we can summarize it and learn how to do that. So attend the speaking classes during the week and do practice off the platform and watch the videos to get used to the rhythm of delivering information. Let's have a look at these sample answers here. So we've got 3 sections: introduction, 3 key features, and conclusion. Ta-da! Let's listen to this model answer and read along as we hear it. Here we go.
These pie charts show energy sources in 1993, 2011, and 2020. The largest energy source in each time period is fossil fuels, though it's expected to fall from 82 to 76% by 2020. The next largest source is renewables, which is expected to grow steadily over the period. Hydropower is predicted to remain steady at 2%, and nuclear is expected to show a slight fluctuation. In conclusion, it can be seen that the major changes over the time span are a reduction in fossil fuel usage and a commensurate increase in renewables.
Okay, interesting, isn't it? So that language of comparison you can learn in the classes on the speaking on Monday, writing on Tuesday, and the speaking classes on Monday, again tomorrow. So see you there. Okay, to learn some of that useful language. Here, we're going to practice summarizing it again. Title, x-axis, 3 key features, and conclusion. Read along and listen to the type of language, descriptive language we can hear.
This image represents unemployment rates for people aged 15 to 19 and 20 to 24 in selected countries in 2010. The unemployment rate is lowest in Singapore for 15 to 19-year-olds, while it is highest in Finland, the US, and the UK. The unemployment rate in Canada for 20 to 24-year-olds is the highest amongst that age group and is substantially higher than in other countries. In conclusion, we can see that apart from Canada, the unemployment rate for 15 to 19-year-olds is much higher than the rate for the older group.
Wow, useful data, yep. Yay. Mary, we haven't got a picture here, but you can practice describing a picture using this framework from the platform. Yep, hopefully that's helpful. The pictures, you will use the same framework. Let's again listen for a title, 3 key features, and conclusion. Here we go.
The table shows China's exports and imports across Asia in 2011 and 2012.
Whoop. What happened there? Here we go.
The table shows China's exports and imports across Asia in 2011 and 2012. The major trading partners in both periods are Japan, Hong Kong, and South Korea, while the smallest trades are with Brunei, Cambodia, and Laos. The most unequal trade is between Hong Kong and China, as Hong Kong exports just $15 to $18 billion of product and imports around $300 billion worth of product. In conclusion, it can be seen that China imports and exports widely throughout the region and has the largest trade with developed countries.
Beautiful work, Patrick. A good question to ask, but we could see how she logically isolated that data, which we see and then explain. So yes, Patrick, hopefully you followed the mouse while that's happening. Now, what you might do is if you got stuck is watch a recording of this and press pause and work out how she has isolated that key data, low point, high point, and one other. Good idea? And that's what you can do with all the recorded videos is fast forward all the way through to the bit you want to understand and replay that several times till your mind tells you that you understand what you need to understand. Good idea, Pachu? Cool. All right, you'll be marked on content, fluency again, and pronunciation, which is how speaking is graded. Yeah, good idea. Take yourself slowly through it, isolate it, and go step by step. Don't allow yourself to be confused and allow yourself to get better by not practicing bad habits, but by learning good ones and practicing those, which might mean changing. Retell lecture. Now, here's the framework. Yeah. Yes. The question is, do you have the same timeframes in the test? Yes. Now, why that's a good question, Adajan, is because while we're practicing, it's quite hard to get all this in 40 seconds. So while we're practicing, when you're practicing on your own, go slower. Work out title, x-axis, 3 key features and conclusion in a minute if you need to. Then put the clock on and work out how much time you'll have on test day. Because on test day, these are the times. So you'll prepare in 25 seconds and speak in 40 seconds. When we're learning to do it, take a little bit more time. Practice off the platform. Give yourself a chance to be successful without making as many mistakes as we do when we go too fast. Slow down, practice, and work out what you want to do, and then speed up according to the time. But yep, exactly, Adajan, these are the times for the test. Cool. So we're going to get, practice and get good at test time, but you can go slower before you apply the clocks. Now, Patrick, in the exam, don't take notes in describe image. What you're going to do is train your brain or your eyes and memory to see the title, the x-axis, low point, high point, one other, and conclusion. Now it takes a little bit of repetition to get used to that. Now that's the same for all the methods, but don't take notes, only take mental notes because you won't refer to them. You'll try to maintain speaking fluency from memory. Yep. Pachu, hopefully that's clear and useful. Okay, so practice the method and then repeat the method for the different task types. Now, Mary asked different chart types. Mary asked for a picture. Yep, practice the same structure for a picture as you do for a line graph, a bar chart, a table, a pie chart, multiple graphs, a picture, a flow chart. And all of those practice tasks are on the platform. And I'll show you that right at the end. I want to show you where to go to do the practice task on the platform. So stay with us while we're learning the method, practicing the method, and then before test day, way before test day, you're going to get feedback from your tutorials or from doing the mock test or from getting feedback from the assessments of the teachers from the platform. Learn the method, practice the method, get feedback. Learn the method and practice the method and then get feedback. Okay, let's have a look. We're going to do retell lecture. Remember we thought described image was hard? It's a challenge and we can learn how to do it and score highly in it, no matter what our language level is, by following the structure and putting the content into the structure. Same for retell lecture. So here we're going to use the E2 language framework, which is DMD, TDS, DMD, TDS, DMD, TDS. So we're learning what's known as a mnemonic. So if I put it here, D, M, D, T, D, S. Now it's worthwhile writing that out 30 times, doing it with your eyes closed so that you've got a structure in your memory to use to put the content into. Yep, the speaker does use signposts. It's a great point, Pachu. Says then and next and does sequence their ideas. So we're listening for changes of ideas in the speaker's lecture for sure. And we're going to summarize, we're going to take a note of the main ideas. The ideas we want to take note of are about 6 of them, because we want it. That's about the amount of information we need to summarize the main ideas of the lecture, to retell the lecture. So we're going to remember DMD, TDS, DMD, TDS, DMD, TDS was discussing, mentioned, described, talked about, discussed, suggested that. So on our pad, we write down the letters DMD, TDS, DMD, TDS, and then we take short bits of information from the lecturer's speech in order that they speak it, in order to be able to retell it. The samples do not follow this structure. What you're doing is imposing a structure on the lecturer's information. They will sequence their ideas, and then we're reporting back on what the lecturer said. So the lecturer might talk about anything but they will develop their ideas through the lecture. We're going to take a note of what they said and retell the lecture, report what the lecturer said. So the reporting verbs was discussing, mentioned, described, talked about, discussed, suggested that. Yep. That's right. And you can link the ideas together by using linking phrases or linking words like then, next, firstly, secondly. You don't have to, because what the algorithm will work out is that you've summarized the main ideas of the text, you've maintained fluency, and your pronunciation is correct. So even if we don't understand the whole of meaning of what the lecturer was talking about, because it was very difficult, we're able to present a fluent delivery of a retelling of the lecture, and we're able to maintain our pronunciation with keywords from the lecture in this structure, which will help maintain our fluency and give us confidence that we can continue for 35 to 40 seconds. So this will give us confidence that we can retell the lecture. Yep. Now, was discussing, mentioned, described, talked about, discussed, suggested that are reporting verbs. Fake it till you make it. Now, it is fake it till you make it, but the amazing thing is that you will make it, because it will enable you to summarize the lecturer's thoughts through practice, work out you're getting good at taking notes. So the key to this is listening, understanding, and knowing what notes to take, and then paraphrasing your notes using your own words where possible, and the DMD TDS structure. Okay, now you will get confident, which is fake it till you make it, or practice, practice, practice. Okay, here we go. So we're going to have a look at one of these now. We're going to look at, there's what we're trying to remember. So take a screenshot of that if you need to, and that's what you're going to commit to memory. Was discussing, mentioned, described, talked about, discussed, suggested that. Write it out 20 times. You're giving yourself a script for what to say. Yep, take a framework if you need to. What you're able to do is use a variety of sentence structures. Muhammad Ali asked, do I need to use complex or simple sentences? Use a variety. Not every sentence has to be a complex sentence, but show that you can speak in a complex sentence, which means a sentence of more than one clause and therefore more than one subject. Okay, good question. You're going to shake it up a bit, but you are going to finish the task in 40 seconds. Okay, so you'll have 10 seconds to prepare, which means write DMD TDS down the page. Listen for the key ideas as they go through. Yep, it is keywords that do matter, Pachu. So listen for the keywords of the speaker and repeat the ideas as the speaker presented them to you. Don't change them or comment on them. Just report back what the speaker said. Okay, so get ready, give yourself confidence to retell the lecture. 10 seconds to prepare, look at the image, predict what it's going to be about, write down DMD, TDS, and listen to the 6 key features as delivered through the lecture. This is 1 minute and 14 seconds long, so 75 seconds. 10 seconds to look at your notes, reorder them if need to, and then speak clearly at a moderate pace for 40 seconds. Okay, here we go. Everyone included? 10 seconds to prepare, then listen, take notes, and retell the lecture. Here we go.
Today, there are approximately 6.8 billion people in the world, and within our lifetime, that number is going to grow to about 9 billion. And at that population level, our planet will be dealing with the limits of growth. And with that growth comes some severe practical problems. one of which is our transportation system simply won't be able to deal with it. When we look at the population growth in terms of cars, it becomes even clearer. Today, there are about 800 million cars on the road worldwide. But with more people and greater prosperity around the world, that number is going to grow to between 2 and 4 billion cars by mid-century. And this is going to create the kind of global gridlock that the world has never seen before. Now, think about the impact that this is going to have on our daily lives. Today, the average American spends about a week a year stuck in traffic jams, and that's a huge waste of time and resources. But that's nothing compared to what's going on in the nations that are growing the fastest. Today, the average driver in Beijing has a 5-hour commute. And last summer, many of you probably saw this, there was a 100-mile traffic jam that took 11 days to clear in China. In the decades to come, 75% of the world's population will live in cities, and 50 of those cities will be of 10 million people or more.
Okay, now it's under pressure, isn't it? So we're going to practice that framework, listening, taking notes. How do we read our own handwriting? How do we space out the information and then retelling the lecture? All righty, here's a sample answer. The speaker was discussing population growth. He mentioned that within our lifetime, we will reach 9 billion people on the planet, and that at that point, we will be at the limits of growth. Then he described how this will become a major problem for our transportation system. Next, he talked about how we already have 800 million cars on the planet, but that this will grow to over 2 billion within a few decades. He discussed a future with global gridlock, and he suggested that in Beijing, people already experience a 5-hour commute, and this will become more common in years to come. Okay, now you might have taken different information down, but you would have used what information you had in the same structure to deliver your response. Yep.
The speaker was discussing renewable energy. She mentioned...
Wow, that's not the right one, is it? So well done. We're going to do another one. I'm glad I read that out. Here we go. Now, 10 seconds to write DMD TDS down the page. Listen, take notes, prepare, and then speak for 40 seconds and keep an eye on the clock. Now, if you hang in there, you're going to get good at this. You are going to get good at Retell lecture, because this framework is the same framework you will use in summarized spoken text as well when we write a response. Good notes, Pachu. Brilliant. Now, what Pachu has done is written abbreviations or shortened the number of words, but needs to be able to translate his own notes, as I need to be able to read my own handwriting. Okay, let's confidently attack it. DMD TDS, and then going to retell the main ideas. Here we go.
Now I'm going to be talking about statistics today. If that makes you feel immediately a little bit wary, that's okay. That doesn't make you some kind of crazy conspiracy theorist. It makes you skeptical. And when it comes to numbers, especially now, you should be skeptical. But you should also be able to tell which numbers are reliable and which ones aren't. So today I want to try to give you some tools to be able to do that. But before I do, I just want to clarify which numbers I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about claims like 9 out of 10 women would recommend this anti-aging cream. I think a lot of us have always rolled our eyes at numbers like that. What's different now is people are questioning statistics like the US unemployment rate is 5%. What makes this claim different is it doesn't come from a private company. It comes from the government.
Okay, how did you get on? Here's a sample answer. Yep. Now, what I might do, because we've got a good amount of time, is can I ask for a volunteer to read out the model answer? So if you want to volunteer, put your name in the chat box, and we're going to hear us use the structure out loud in the class. So who would like to volunteer? Yeah, Liam does. Okay, so good on you, Liam. I'm going to ask you not to read your own version out, but to read out the model answer here. What can I do? Okay, hang on. Looks like unfortunately, hang on a second. For some bizarre reason, I can't actually allow you to speak. I don't know why that is. So that was a bit of a boring offer, wasn't it? Okay. And Sebastian, for some reason, with the Zoom settings the way they are in this case, I'm not able to allow you to do that. We'll do that during the week. If you turn up during the week, you'll have a chance to speak through the screen. Particularly, what I'd like you to know is that there's a pronunciation class on during the week as well, which is a fantastic class to practice in. And also, in that case, you'll get plenty of practice. Yes, it's blocked for participants. Well done, Adaja. Thanks for that. So I'll read it out here. We've got the framework, we've got our notes, we've got the framework, and we're going to repeat what we think we understood, which is quite interesting. So the speaker was discussing statistics and the need to be somewhat skeptical. Yep. He mentioned that being skeptical doesn't make us conspiracy theorists. Next, he described how we need to know which statistics we can trust. Then he talked about how we roll our eyes a lot at claims by advertisers, which seem to be patently silly. He discussed how we also need to question claims like numbers related to the unemployment rate. Finally, he suggested that this is different from the past because now we need to be wary not only of claims by advertisers, but also of claims by governments. And so we can see that we've effectively summarized the main ideas of the lecturer's speech, and the framework gave us the confidence to be able to deliver that information in 40 seconds. Yep. And that's why we keep practicing. So hopefully that'll cheer us all up. Good work, part two. We're using the notes that we took and we're putting them into the framework of DMD TDS. Yep. And we don't try to change it because what we worked out is if we do, we won't get there any faster. So it's best just to commit to the framework and the method and practice it getting good at it. Fantastic. Enjoy getting better at that. Now, answer short question. It's a relief now because we're up to the final task, which is to answer short question. What we do here is just generally give our opinion or what we think is our opinion of the fact. So we're trying to answer the question as accurately as possible in a single word, or we may include the article. We get good at this by watching game shows and doing lots of reading and building up our general knowledge skills. Here's the first one. Are we ready?
What is the name of the shortest month of the year?
We know it, don't we? It is nearly impossible to pronounce. February. February. It's got 28 days and 29 days each leap year. Question two, we might close our eyes. Here we go. What is the structure which spans a river? We know it, don't we? We love that one. It's a bridge or bridge. Cool. Next one. Okay, ready for anything?
Would you expect the climate to be hot or cold on the equator?
Right. Did you get it? Hot. Cool. So we could have got 3 out of 3 for that, 1 for each of those. Yep. Now, what we like to do is to give ourselves an estimate of how well we went. Read aloud. Were we good? There were 2 of those. What did we give ourselves out of 30? Repeat sentence. Did we remember the phrases and join them together? Describe image. Did we sequence our ideas with title, x-axis, 3 key features, and conclusion? Describe image, that's what we've done. Retell lecture, did we use DMD, TDS and fill out the lecture in 40 seconds? And did we get each of our answer short questions right? So if it's about 147, give yourself a score, just a rough estimate of what you think you got. Good on you. You want to quantify, measure your success because we want to work out how much more can you do to get better. So give yourself an estimate, because on test day, what might happen is that if you get a score out of a class like this, out of 147, you might have scored 130. You might get the 79 that you're aiming for. Yep. If you get 105, you might get the 65 that's necessary for your visa. And if you got 80, you might get the qualification, your pass rate you need for your nursing qualification. So you've got to set yourself a goal and you've got to achieve it. Now, we see thousands of students come through and thousands of students succeed by knowing what it is that they need to do and working out how to do it. And that's the key, really. Learn what you need to do, learn how to do it, and get good at it. So learn the methods, practice the methods, get feedback, get good at listening, developing vocabulary through reading and listening, and developing your general knowledge. Practice your pronunciation and word stress and sentence stress. Get used to the sound of your own voice. Develop confidence by hearing yourself recorded and getting used to speaking English, and work out how vocabulary can help you maintain fluency as well. Now, if you are brand new, please use your QR code reader or camera to access that. What I want to do for you, those of you who've lasted the distance, is show you around the platform. So again, you can take advantage of a tutorial and you can ask any questions at any stage. What I'd like us to do, thanks for turning up. Thanks for spending your energy on getting good at what it is that we're aiming to do. So if I look at this, cool, we should be able to see the PTE platform. Now, where we are is here. Fantastic for turning up. Brilliant. Tomorrow, we've got writing. And then we've also got a test ready practice at 5 p.m. Melbourne time. And then at 8 o'clock, we've got the speaking practice. Now, that writing methods class is at 1 a.m. Melbourne time, which, if we think about it, is in about 4 hours. If you can make it, go to it. But you need to be a premium member. This one is open access, so free. This one is for paid members. This one is for paid members as well. But the grammar class is open access on Tuesday. So when you log in, either as a free or a paid user, click through to see which classes you can access. What I want to show you too is when you're practicing for the PTE, practicing speaking, for example, we've got these practice tasks here. So when Mary says, can we look at a picture? You can, by practicing here, looking at the task type. There's maps, there's processes, there's pictures and Venn diagrams. So when you click on this as a practice task, you'll be given, I'm going to press start, you'll be given an image like this to look at for 25 seconds and then record yourself for 40 seconds. So allow your microphone to be able to do that. And then you'll be able to play it back to hear how well you did. So these are excellent practice tasks. You'd give it a title, give it a bit more information. Then you look at something which is minor, of minor detail, something of major detail, and then a general comment, and then a summary, a prediction, or a reason. So Mary, that's where you can practice that particular task. In the meantime, you can practice all of the ranges of images by accessing them from the platform at the part of a package that will allow you to be able to do that. So that's the course material practice, which I know that we all need in order to learn the method in the live classes, practice the method by practicing from these practice tasks, and then getting feedback by doing something like an assessment task that allow you to get some feedback from a reliable marker. So in this case, that would be, if that's part of your package, you then go ahead and record yourself, and then within 48 hours, you'll be given feedback by an experienced and professional marker on what you did well and an indication score of how you might go on test day. So is that of value to you? I hope so, because that's where the action is. It's on the platform. So go to the platform, have a look around. And again, if we go back to, if you are brand new and you want to take advantage of the offer, you can scan now and get 30% off access to the platform so that you can begin to look around. If you're already a premium user, then please take advantage of giving yourself enough practice and then learning the method, applying the method, looking at the time, developing your ideas, but learning what each method is. There are 5 tasks in speaking: read aloud, repeat sentence, describe image, retell lecture, answer short question. Each one has a method. So learn the method, practice the method, and then get feedback when you can. Alrighty. Now, if that was a good session for you, it's all gone dark, hasn't it? If it's a good session for you, give yourself high five, give yourself a party hat, give yourself a pat on the back, cheer yourself along, knowing that by turning up and practicing, you are going to get better. You're going to hear the sound of your own voice produce English sounds accurately and clearly. You're going to maintain fluency by not hesitating, pausing, or going back and repeating yourself. And you're going to learn the method so that you can deliver the answers in the time needed in the test. Hi, Senthil. Keep cheering each other along. You're going to get good at this, and you're going to learn these skills that will last you for life. Okay, so these aren't just for the test; they're for beyond the test, for the visa, for the study, for the living in an English-speaking community. Yay! Cheer each other along. Give each other as much support as you can. It's a pleasure to have you here, and join in the success along with the other students who are your study buddies and your peers. It's not a competition against each other. It's a competition against yesterday, because we want to get better today than we were yesterday at what it is that we're learning how to do well. Learn the method, practice the method, get feedback, learn what to do, learn how to do it, and then get good at it. Yeah, thanks everyone, and cheer each other along. Yeah, exactly right. By letting each other know that you're not alone in this journey, and that you've got a lot of people on your side supporting you and being prepared to go at your speed to help you get better. Thanks, Kedden. Thanks, Senthil. Thanks, Arian. Thanks, Charlie, who's behind the scenes. Thanks to the Facebook viewers. Thanks to the YouTube viewers. Thanks for turning up. And I look forward to seeing you during the week. There's a study skills session on Wednesday evening with Anna. I hope to see you there. Otherwise, turn up to the pronunciation, the grammar, the spelling classes, the live classes during the week. Practice from the platform and stay determined to reach your goals by setting them and moving towards them. Thanks, Liam. Thanks, Rose. Thanks for being here and giving us energy and keeping the learning process happening. Keep each other's spirit and going. And I look forward to seeing you.